Hi, I'm Maya from Book and Dreams, and I have a crazy idea. Alright, so today is the 4th of March, which means I have 4 weeks left until the end of March, which is also the end of this season's, let's call it like that, Reddit Fantasy Bingo Reading Challenge. For you who don't know, Reddit Fantasy Bingo Reading Challenge is a reading challenge created on the fantasy subreddit on Reddit. And there you get a bingo card of 25 prompts, and you're supposed to fill them with speculative fiction. There are rules. You can't really, repeat an author. You can use one square to reread stuff. The point of this challenge is to diversify a reading and sort of branch out into different parts of speculative fiction. So I made a mistake of making like a double TBR for this challenge. I went with like my sort of first reactions, by looking at what I have and looking at my TBR and, things that people recommended. And then I made another one, which was more focused on having authors of color, because I do read mostly like mainstream authors who are, mostly white. So I'm now in a position that I have 18 books unread for this challenge. And I guess the goal from now till the end of the month will be to read those 18 books. Is that doable? I mean, yes, but also no, because it's insane. Since this is speculative fiction, a lot of my books are over 400 pages long. Now, I know me. I can read a 300-page book in a day. I could, but would that be healthy? No, because I think at the end of the month, if I do this, I will be so out of love with reading and in a slump. It's going to be insane, but I'm going to give it a try because I want to see if I can do it. It's like 18 books. First, I'm going to focus on my second TBR, because I do have a bunch of those in physical format and in audiobook format. So I'm going to focus mostly on those, and then in like the last week, I'll try to fit as many books from the first TBR. So here's the thing. We're going to tackle this in a specific way. I'm going to have 2 books. One will be an audiobook and the other will be reading book. So I will have one like in my bedroom or here in my living room. So whenever I catch reading sprints or whatnot, I can have something to read. So my current reading book, I have 2. So I have this is Wastelands, The New Apocalypse. This is edited by John Joseph Adams. This is a collection of stories by a bunch of these authors. You can see and many more that deal with the apocalypse. This is like the 3rd, I think, or 4th collection of such stories, anthology of such stories. I have read the first one and it was pretty cool. So now I'm on page 28 of this, and this thing has 511 pages. I'm going to have to sit down and maybe divide the stories so I can like read a specific amount of stories each day until I finish the book. Then the other book that's on my let's read this is When Gracie Met the Grump. This is an over 600-page story of a slow burn romance between Gracie and the Grump. The Grump would be the superhero that landed in her backyard, and now she has to deal with him. I started this. I am on page 10. So yeah, those are my 2 books that's going to be reading books. Now the listening books, I have a bunch of here. So I have Saba Tahir's Ember in the Ashes, Jasmine Throne by Tasha Suri, and I have the Adventures of Amina Al-Sirafi, by Shannon Chakraborty. I do have all of these on audio as well, so when I immerse read, it goes much faster than if I just listen to it or if I just read it. So I'm going to start with probably the Ember in the Ashes has the largest font of all the 3. See, it's very like YA font. But then I also have the Midnight Bargain, which is only 12 hours long. If I put it on double speed, it will give me 6 hours to finish it, and I can finish that in a day. So yeah, that's my current dilemma. But yeah, I think I'm going to start with the Midnight Bargain by C.L. Polk. do not remember what that book is about, but when I get through it, I will give you some notes. So yeah, that is the challenge. I still don't know if I'm going to just do this whole month-long vlog or I'm just going to, do it weekly. We shall see. But yeah, that's the challenge, to see if Maya can read 18 books in 28 days. We shall see. Okay. Hi. So it's still technically the same day. I have just finished my first book, and that would be The Midnight Bargain by C.L. Polk. Now, this was a really good book. In this book, we follow Beatrice, and she lives in this, let's call it, Victorian-like world, in which, of course, she has to participate in the bargaining, which is sort of part of the season, social season, where young women are looking for husbands, and so they have their portraits done and oh my god, shown at this house, and all the eligible men go and look at the portraits, and then they mingle during the season, and at the end you have to find a wife or whatnot. So Beatrice, the thing with Beatrice is that she has magic. Now, magic is not something that is unknown in this world. All the men can be sorcerers and mages and whatnot, but women cannot. And also, to protect women, because there are spirits in the world, and that's how mages get their magic, they sort of bind themselves first to a smaller spirit, then to a larger spirit to have power and whatnot. So to protect women from the evil spirits while they get pregnant, because a spirit can embody the body of the baby and then, take it over instead of a soul, and it can cause some destruction. And the way they deal with that is then to kill the baby and the mother. So the way to protect women from that, when they get married, they get a nice shiny collar around their throats that basically cuts them off from their magic. And there are a lot of women that have magic. And basically every woman that has power, the moment that they get married, the father gives the husband the collar, you're transferring property and whatnot. So, yeah, Beatrice is trying to work really hard to avoid that. So the story begins with her finding a book of magic. So when she's in the bookstore trying to buy the book, she meets a brother and sister. The sister is also looking for magic because she's in a similar position as Beatrice, in that her family wants to marry her off to someone. And she doesn't want to do that. She wants to go travel the world and discover magic and share her magic knowledge with others. So the two of them start not a friendship. It later turns into a friendship, but at the beginning it's sort of a mutually beneficial relationship where, Beatrice is supposed to teach the girl magic, and the girl is supposed to facilitate this relationship between Beatrice and her brother that would end up in marriage. And, story goes from there. This was so well done. This was so well written. And when I started, I was a bit worried that's going to be like a typical, it's not cozy fantasy, but a fantasy placed in Victorian era where we follow people of society trying to practice magic and, do their thing. But here we have a bit of that, but we also have a woman fighting for the rights of other women in her society, other sorceresses and younger women, older women. So we have that aspect. We also have the relationship between the two women and Beatrice and her love interest, which doesn't really take over the plot. It's a part of it, but not like the main part. And to sort of see them start this discussion about the problem of women in magic and, how things are done differently, where Beatrice is from and where the guy is from, because he comes from another country. And to see him slowly learn about the problems and change his thoughts and opinions on the problem, and in the end help Beatrice and his sister to avoid their fate. Because, oh my god, there are things that happen that are enraging, but as I said, it is so well done, well written. I really, really enjoyed it. And I'm going to have to go check out what the author has written. So yeah, this is great. Book 1 done. And now I'm going to go to sleep because it's after midnight and I have to work tomorrow. What will be my next book? I have no idea. I'm going to think on this. I shall have to see. So yeah, till next time. Okay, it's day 2, the next day, and this is the book I'm going to focus on today. I'm going to use the reading sprints that are happening right now to do some actual reading. It says here I am 16% in. I started this book before. I'm on chapter 7, Half Resurrection Blues by Daniel Jose Older. I have almost 4 hours left. So this is an urban fantasy where we follow Carlos de la Cruz, who works for the New York Council of the Dead. And basically he's special because he's an in-betweener. He was partially resurrected from the dead, and he doesn't really remember his life from before, and he thinks he's the only one. But I guess in the book he finds out there are others like him, and one of them is causing trouble in New York City, and he has to deal with it. So yeah, we'll talk to you when I have some thoughts. Okay, just ignore the mess around me. This is good lighting, so we're gonna use it. So today is Wednesday, the 6th. I finished Half Resurrection Blues yesterday. Actually, today, I'm lying. So what was supposed to be like a easy 4-hour reading, I don't want to say activity. I was supposed to read this book it was less than 4 hours. I didn't remember how much I had. It turned into such a slog that I was like, I cannot. I fell asleep at one point and I couldn't keep my eyes open, and I went to sleep and I just read the last hour I finished today before work. So this is an urban fantasy in which we follow Carlos de la Cruz. So he was found dead but brought back to life like 3 years ago, and he has no idea if there are people like him around. Turns out there are. And one of those called him to like share an idea. But Carlos now works for the Council of the Dead, which is, I think, a collection of ghosts and whatnot, creatures that, basically try to govern the, I don't want to say supernatural world, but like the paranormal world of New York. And he killed this dude who, tracked him down and asked him to share his ideas. But before he killed him, this dude, Trevor, was like, can you hang out or take care of my sister? So he does that. And also, there's also this sorcerer dude who is bringing like creatures from hell to cleanse the area of paranormal activities. So they kill ghosts and other, things that are around. And this turns into this whole conspiracy of this sorcerer dude who is responsible for Carlos's death and rebirth, I guess. He wanted to basically open the doors to hell, to Earth, so that, they could have like a melding of the supernatural world and normal world, and he would rule the whatever is left behind. When it comes to urban fantasy, this is sort of what urban fantasy deals with, the supernatural paranormal world connected to the real world, in which we follow characters who have to deal with someone upsetting the order of things. But this one didn't really work for me because I found the main character unremarkable at all. I couldn't really, usually when you read urban fantasy, you want to have someone you can root for and whatnot. So I'm a huge fan of Harry Dresden. Harry from the first book had some humor about him, had some charm and whatnot. But here I really could not connect with Carlos. And also he had this ill-advised relationship with the sister that turned out, the ending was kind of like eye-rolly, but whatever. I finished it and that's it. So that's another book that I've read for this project. I have 16 left. So I think the next one will be, I will try to finish The Daughter of Izdihar. I forgot the name of the author. But what I remember from the beginning of this, I think I listened to 2 hours of the audiobook. So there we follow a character who wants to be part of the army or something. Like this is set in this book has an Eastern setting, and with it has some Eastern, do I call them cultures and traditions? Because it follows with the whole women don't really have a vote or can't really decide their fates. They have to ask their husbands or fathers for permission to do stuff. And we follow one of the characters who wants to be a part of the Daughters of Izdihar, which is like a people with magic, I think. I don't remember. I have to start listening again and pay more attention. And to do that, she has to enroll magic, because she has to enroll in the academy, and her father won't give her permission to do that. He basically set up this marriage with this dude, and she was like, she went to the dude and he said, I don't want to marry you, but we could get married. You could have your girlfriend, because he told her he has a girlfriend who is also another character we follow in the story. you can have your girlfriend, but I just need your permission to join this academy so I can learn magic and be part of whatever society and learn magic and be powerful. So yeah, I think I'm going to continue on with that today, and then check in when I read stuff and, you know, if I have something to say. Hi, it's Saturday. I think last time I spoke to you was Wednesday or Thursday, I don't remember. But what I can say that right now I finished The Daughters of Izdihar by Hadir Elzbai. I might have mispronounced the author's name, I'm sorry. So I really liked it. This is a story in which we follow two different women from two different backgrounds in a Arab-inspired new world. The two characters we follow in this story are from two different backgrounds, and throughout the story they are coming together to fight for women's rights and fight for themselves and their ability to make decisions for themselves, to enroll in military school if they want to, and without, you know, the permission of their father or father's husbands or male cousins and whatnot. So I really, really liked the story. I really liked the different backgrounds that we see. So we follow Georgina, who is, she grew up poor, and she has spent most of her life trying to preserve her reputation so that she wouldn't, like, you know, she had this naive belief that if her reputation was stellar, that she wouldn't have to go through like hoops to get married and whatnot. She had she made some missteps in her life. She has been in a relationship with a man she thought that was going to marry her, and she was sort of counting on him. I mean, they are in love and whatnot, and she was counting on him and his power a bit to help her family out. And when his family made him marry the second character that we follow, her name is Nihal. Georgina basically finds herself in a very interesting situation, because now she has to figure out what to do with her life. She also has a power that she has trouble controlling. She's involved with the Daughters of Izdihar, which is an organization that, you know, besides trying to do charity work and help women in various ways, they're also trying to make their politicians write in their new constitution that women, you know, are equal to men, that women should have the right to vote, women should participate in any decisions that are happening, you know, in political life in general in their country. The second character we follow, Nihal, she is a spoiled little princess. I mean, she's not a princess, but, you know, she comes from a family, from a very affluent family and rich, and she is forced to marry this dude. And she's like, oh, I don't really care. I just want to participate in this academy to learn to harness her powers. She's a water weaver and she can control water. And she just wants to join this academy to learn about her powers. So when she meets her future husband, she's like, I don't care what you do. You can have a concubine, and he's like, oh yeah, I have a girlfriend. And I just want to participate in this academy. And she also comes in contact with the Daughters of Izdihar, and she meets its leader. I think her name is Mehal or something, I don't remember. And the two of them sort of start a friendship, which later turns into more, and she gets more and more involved with the daughters and with their cause. And it's very interesting to see this problem being seen through two different points of view, because Nehal, who hasn't been told no a lot, she hasn't really suffered through life. She thinks that things will just happen because her family has power and they sort of have influence. Like, her name sort of means something, but, you know, as she fights for these women and fights to save her friends, she kind of sees that, you know, even though that her name and anything she says doesn't really matter much, because she's a woman, and, you know, women are not equal in this world. And it's very interesting to follow the start of the revolution through their eyes. Besides that, we also have a big threat of a neighboring country that is about to come into a bigger conflict with the country we are following here, because the neighboring country hates magic users and basically wants to throw them in jail or kill them. And yeah, there is like a little political subplot here with people trying to make sure that the magic user problem becomes very bigger and larger, and to sort of force the politicians to sign a peace treaty or basically start a war. And, you know, as our characters get involved and plots are uncovered and such, it's really, really an interesting read. I really, really liked it. I was like, when the book was coming to an end, I'm like, oh my god, there's not enough time for them to solve everything, because I thought it was a standalone. It's not, it's a duology. And the second part of the duology is coming out, I think, in the end of March of this year. So in a couple of weeks. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to the second book in this duology at some point. So yeah, those are 3 books so far read. It's Saturday. I think I'm going to focus on just one more book for this week. I'm just not sure which should it be. So my options are Heart of the Sun Warrior by Su Lin Tan. This is book 2 in this YA fantasy duology. So that's my option 1. My option 2 is to do An Ember in the Ashes. It's somewhere over there. It would fit this theme of this week that I'm actually reading books about women fighting for their power, for their, place in society. So that's my second option. And what's my third option? That would be The Masked City by Genevieve Cortman. This is book 2 in her Invisible Library series. That one is an option because it would be easier to follow along. So yeah, I'm going to figure it out at some point what I want to read, and I will dedicate my Saturday afternoon because it's all gloomy and rainy and shit and you can't really do stuff. So yeah. Hi, it's Sunday evening. What happened yesterday was that I couldn't figure out which book to read, so I listened to an audiobook of a romance novel called The Fake Mate by someone whose name escapes me. Here's the cover. Had lots of fun doing that. I know when I'm not sure which book to pick. I know that I have to go outside the confines of my TBR, and also to usually read something with romance in it or whatnot. So yeah, that's what I did. That's what I did on Saturday, and now it's Sunday evening, and today I started and finished The Masked City by Genevieve Cortman. This is book 2 in the Invisible Library series, and in this series we follow Irene, who in book 2 is now like a stationary librarian. That's not what it's called. Basically, the library is this organization that sends librarians outside through multiverses and whatnot, different kinds of alternate universes, where they have to get certain books with certain things, and they usually sometimes they're stationed in a specific world where they're supposed to make sure everything works smoothly and whatnot. So Irene has an apprentice sort of student person called Kai, who is a dragon. A shifter. Yes. Also, there are Fae, who are usually the bad guys here. Now, the book starts with this prologue where you hear a part of the librarian handbook, in which the relationship between the Fae and the dragons is described, and it's not a good one. They have been sort of at war, enemies and whatnot for ever. And the book starts with Kai being abducted by the Fae because they want to start the war. And then Irene has to go and save him, travel to a different world. And there are stories and so many things convoluted in this ridiculous adventure that I really enjoyed. But yeah, I read it. So it was fun. So I'm going to end this vlog today on a Sunday evening because, it's been a week. I've read 4 things, which is great. I was hoping for 5, but great. But 4 is great. So yeah, I'm gonna end it now, and then tomorrow on a Monday start the second week of this project. So I guess thank you for watching. If you have thoughts on the books that I've mentioned, you feel free to share them down below. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week in the new vlog.